Guys, welcome to the channel and welcome back to another video, another live. We are going live today, guys. So, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you decided to spend a few moments with me, guys. I appreciate you being here. Let's have a conversation today. And what are we going to have a conversation about? Let's have the conversation about the simple things that regular wealthy people tend to focus on. Let's have the conversation, guys. Now, listen, if you're stopping by here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel and also smash the like button as you come in. Let me know who you are, what city, what state, what country, what county you're checking in from, and hit the like button for me, right? That way the YouTube algorithm kind of senses that this is something worthy that people need to see. And I want to have the conversation, guys, and I want to be as frank, open, and honest as possible with you. I don't want to, what do you call it? I don't want to pull any punches, right? I want to actually just be honest and flat out with you. As you come in, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here, or let me know you can hear me okay and my audio is good. But share the link, like the video, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you for giving me that thumbs up. Daryl's checking in from North Carolina. What city? Wilmington, Raleigh, Charlotte. Angelita's checking in from California. Mrs. Moore, good to have you. Glad to have you. Mrs. Moore, what city are you in? NW, simple things. Thank you. Jennifer said, howdy from Collierville, Tennessee. Good to have you as well. We want to just break this thing down, guys. The simple things that regular wealthy people tend to focus on that will take them from broke to middle class to having some type of semblance of wealth. Okay. Now, we know there's a difference between rich people and wealthy people. Okay. There's a difference, right? Rich, you make a big income, you have a lot of money, and right? But wealthy people tend to build and stack wealth and not just be rich, right? Rich in income, right? So there's a difference. I want to talk about wealthy people, but I don't want to talk about the Jeff Bezos, right? I don't want to talk about the name them Warren Buffett's, right? I want to talk about regular rich folks, okay? Just regular folks. Let's see here. Turn that down. Boom. And can you guys still hear me? Oh, just with some new technology here, so just let me know. Atlanta, Mrs. Moore's in Atlanta. Okay, good to have you from the ATL. Somebody up in Gatineau, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Gatineau, Quebec, right? That's French. Of course, the French was. The Quebec was French, right? LA, checking in. Hampton Roads, Virginia. Been out there a few times, right? Hampton University out there. Good to have you here. NK is checking in. NK just broke out with a question. What's my opinion on S&P 500 ETF SPLG? I like SPLG. I think that's a uh, fund, right? But I like it, right? Nothing wrong with that at all. Anytime you go S&P 500 ETF, you're typically going to be in good shape. Somebody's checking in from New Orleans. Somebody checking in from Atlanta, Philadelphia, Loyola. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. California. East St. Louis in the house. Jonathan, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. And guys, give me a thumbs up, making sure you can hear me still. Lithonia, Georgia is in the house. Good to have you as well. Just like to play with those dialects, guys. I don't mean anything by doing that. We want to talk about simple things, right? That wealthy people tend to focus on. Now, listen, guys, just so you know, let me share this with you. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Miami's in the house, all the way from Miami. Good to have you guys. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you can hear me okay. Again, I appreciate that. Ah, okay, this is cool. Okay, I didn't know. I got new technology, guys. I got new technology. Work with me. West Virginia, Gary is checking in. Good to have you, Gary. Okay, so yeah, okay, this is cool. Okay. Don't worry about me, guys. I'm just over here getting hyped on something. All right. So cool. You may have asked yourself, At least one time in your life, if you can develop the habits of a wealthy person, right? Let me actually go up here and do a mute job on this here. Okay, let's see here. Right here. All right. So you may have asked yourself that, right? Can I become wealthy? Do I have the habits? Do I have the what it takes to become wealthy? Listen, you can learn to be wealthy. Okay. I don't think that it's something you have to be born with to build wealth, right? No. Simple habits that you can acquire and you can do. And that's some of what I want to talk about when I talk about the simple things regular wealthy people focus on. You just got to, for most people, this is real talk. For most people, you just have to refocus or change your focus to something a little bit different in order to become wealthy. Now, let me just clarify wealth. What I'm talking about in this video, typically on this channel, when I say wealthy, right? I'm not talking about um, the owner of YouTube. I'm not talking about billionaires. I don't spend a lot of time on this channel talking about billionaires. Now, listen, if you like to read about billionaires and learn their story and all that, congratulations. It's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Right. I like to read about, kind of famous people and how what their plight was and their biographies. Right. But I don't spend a lot of time focused on doing the things that billionaires do. That's not the goal over here. The goal over here is to do what the regular wealthy people do, right? Regular wealthy people. Maybe and typically I try to define wealthy still as a millionaire, right? Now we know that I know that 20 years ago a millionaire is not the same as 20 years ago, 20 years as a millionaire today, right? Because if you a millionaire in 2000, the year 2000 would have maybe 1.7 or 1.8 million today. So we know it's not the same connotation. But listen, $1 million is still a lot of money. And if you have a net worth of $1 million, you got some choices. You got some choices you can do, some different things that you can do, some decisions you can make. So just to make it simple on all of us, because we all can define millionaire in many different ways. I just define wealth as having a net worth $1 million, not $1 million worth of assets. No, because if you got $1 million worth of assets and you got $1 million worth of debt, you ain't no millionaire and you ain't wealthy. If you got $1 million worth of assets and you got $500,000 worth of debt, your net worth is only 500,000. I'm talking about people who have a net worth of over 100, I'm sorry, over $1 million, right? That's what I consider wealthy in my opinion. You may say, "Nah, wealth doesn't start till you get to 10 million." Some of you may say, "No, real wealth don't start till you get to 50 million." I'm not talking about $50 million people right here because I want the people and the things that I talk about in terms of wealth to be reachable to most of us, to be attainable by most of us. And most of us in this chat, with some simple changes in our behavior and what we do, we can get to $1 million net worth. It's not out of the question. Not out of the question. Thanks for telling me you can hear me loud and clear. Appreciate that, Robert. Hey, what's up, Gary Sheridan, checking in from Cecil County, Maryland. To have you. Thanks, Dominic. Good to have you here. Greetings. We got Queensbridge up here in Queens, New York. Alvira, good to have you here. Boynton Beach, checking in. Boynton. When you get a second, guys, just try saying that. You say Boynton. It's really cool. Now, I say that all that to say that if you want to build wealth, you should listen carefully to regular people who have wealth. If you want to build wealth, you should start listening to regular wealthy people, not the Elon Musk of the world, right? There ain't about what 3 Elon Musks in the world in terms of his wealth, 3 or 4, 5, 10, right? There's probably 30 of them, and we only heard of 28 of them, right? 26 of them. But my point is, that's not who you should be. You don't wanna base your life. Listen, if you're Elon Musk, He ain't had your money. He ain't never been in your position. He's never had your money. If you wanna talk about, okay, Jeff Bezos grew up, Jeff Bezos might have had your level of wealth back when he was 23, 26, 25, 30 years ago. He ain't been your level of wealth in a lot of years. So what I want you to think about and focus on is people that have your level of wealth, right? So I don't talk about the billionaires. I talk about the regular millionaires, the regular wealthy, right? That's how I define wealth, having a net worth of over $1 million. Okay. Them $100 million people and them $1 billion, I don't even look at them. I don't even look at them in terms of building wealth. Okay. This ain't the channel for billionaires. This is the channel for regular millionaires. Right. And I've talked to many, many, many of them. And I've also studied many regular, I guess, kind of like the millionaire next door type thing, right? Let me just give you six things, guys. Six things that regular wealthy people tend to focus on. Okay. And oh, by the way, guys, you'll see some things in the description box. Check those things out. I don't like to kind of go over them a whole lot because there's my one-on-one personal financial mentoring and coaching, a link to that. There's 24 Laws of Money, a free ebook. There's a link to that. There's Mint Mobile. There's a link to that, right? Mint Mobile is my long distance carrier of choice. And so I partner with them on the video. Super duper duper easy to use. No box stores, no employees at the box store. All those cost savings are passed on to me and you. And Mint Mobile, they use the world's largest 5G network. So they're excellent. Okay. I trust them and I wouldn't be talking about them if I didn't trust them. So check out Mint Mobile. They're in the description box below as well on YouTube. Right. So if you're not on YouTube, come on over to YouTube and check it out. Number one, the first simple thing that regular wealthy people tend to focus on when they're in the process of building their wealth, not when they're already have a 1.5 million net worth or a 2 million net worth, but in the process of building their worth, their net worth, building their wealth. Wealthy people tend to focus on buffering themselves from what is taking place in the larger economy. Wealthy people tend to not focus on things that they cannot control, right? Wealthy people tend to focus on the things that are around them that they have a say so in. They don't focus on all the stuff around them that doesn't affect them directly, right? They don't Sure, they know what's going on. They watch the news. I'm not saying they don't watch the news, but they tend to be zero laser like focused on their own four walls in terms of their own money. Okay. Their own four walls in terms of their own wealth building, their own habits, their own economy, so to speak. See, wealthy people, they know there's a larger economy that has an indirect effect on them, sometimes a direct effect, depends on what it is, but they don't focus so heavy on that economy that they lose sight of managing the main economy that matters to them on a daily basis, which is their own personal economy, right? They're more focused on the economy in their four walls than the economy outside of their four walls. Because guess what? You can't do anything about inflation. Stop focusing and spending your energy, time, and upset, angry at inflation. Sure, you wanna know what's going on. We got a presidential election coming up. You wanna know who to vote for, right? So how does this person think about this economy? How does this third party think about the economy? How does the other party think about this economy? You wanna understand and know all that. I get it. But the decision-making stuff that goes on is really about focusing on your four walls more. So they don't typically people that build wealth or have wealth or when they're building wealth, they're not spending 5, 6 hours a day on social media, typically, unless they have a business that deals a lot with social media. I get it. But they're really zeroing in on their own personal finances, the things that they can control, the habits they can control, the behaviors they can control, right? Those are the things that they're really focused in on, not the outside world, not the other stuff, not what so and so and so's doing and that person's doing and what they have and what this have and the latest. No, they're really focused on building up their own economy, their personal economy, right? That's important. Philadelphia in the house, New Orleans back in the house. Good. Let's see here. I'm just going back to the chat as I flow into this thing because number 2, let's go to number 2. I got 6 of them I wanna share with you real quick. Number 2 is this: wealthy people tend to focus on their strength, and they tend to get help with their weaknesses. Hmm, let me go a little deeper into that one, okay? So, wealthy people understand that they don't really have time to focus on all those weaknesses. You will never be good at everything, okay? Nobody's good and great at everything. You can't do everything well, right? When you're building wealth, figure out what you do well. Don't try to do all this thing by yourself. What do you do well? Do that. What do you do poorly? Don't do that. Feel free at any time when you know and have recognized what you do and don't do well, feel free to pay someone else to help you do what you don't do well. Get good at recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses, right? People that tend to build wealth, they got a real clear idea about themselves, what they do, what they don't do well, right? The key is to get really, really good at what you do well. Do it, practice it, get better at it, keep doing it, figure out what new ways to do it, right? Be innovative and creative. Do some things a little different, but always hone in on what you do well, right? Matter of fact, become the best at what you do well. Listen, I, people that are the best, they don't starve. People that are the best, they usually get paid accordingly, typically. I don't care if you are the best, if you are a custodian. If you're the absolute best custodian, you're gonna have a job. You're gonna make money. You might be the head custodian. You might go on to own your own custodian company. Listen, if nothing else, if you're the best at what you'll do, you'll always be in demand, right? If you're the best at what you do, you will always be in demand. I don't care. Like I said, you could be a whatever, carpenter, construction worker. You could work for the company that goes and gets trash here in America, right? You work for the company that drives the truck, that picks up the bins or jumps off and gets the bins. If you're the best, you're going to be employed. You could I don't care what you are. People that build wealth, typically they understand the concept at becoming very, very good at something. People always ask me, "Hey, what do I do at my job? You know, my job. Listen, it's your job. Be the best at your job, right? Now, of course, that narrative can change because we know personal finance is personal and everybody's situation is slightly different. But for the vast majority of people, the vast majority of us get good at what you do. And then if you're building wealth and you're as a regular wealthy or wannabe wealthy person, right? Don't spend so much time on the stuff that you do poorly. A lot of people spend so much energy and time and effort and trying to get better at something they're not naturally better at. For me, let me give you an example. So for me, I have a website, right? Smartmoneybro.com, right? Listen, yeah, I started the website 5, 6 years ago on Wix, then I moved the website over to WordPress, and it's not really my thing to go and do websites and put up web pages and HTML and some of the coding that may be necessary. That ain't my thing. I do not wanna sit in front of a computer for hours and hours and hours all day. I already do that for my job, and that's cool, right? I work a job. And then when I get off the job, I come here and see you guys. But I don't wanna spend all, 6 hours in the back end of my web. It's not my thing. It's not what I do well. I'm not a designer. Look at me. Every time you see me on this camera, guys, I look plain, dull. I don't have fancy this, fancy nothing. I'm just a plain, regular person. I'm not into the fancy stuff, right? That's not my thing. But I have a person who that is their thing. They enjoy doing it. They don't cost me a whole ton of money. I can afford them, so they'll go in and update the back end of smartmoneybro.com. That's what they do. That's their job, their business. It's not what I do, right? You might see my thumbnails on YouTube. Some of the thumbnails I do, some of the thumbnails I don't do. But the point is that I'm not a designer. It's not what I do well. So I don't spend my time trying to design well, right? I spent listen, if you tell me to go out and present to 250 to 3 or 1,000 people on stage and talk about something, that's my thing. That's my wheelhouse. If you tell me to communicate with customers or something like that, that's my wheelhouse. But sitting at a computer designing the back end of the website is not my wheelhouse. So I don't spend time trying to get better at something that's not my wheelhouse. Wealthy people understand this concept. They understand the concept of do what you do well and become the best, and you'll never go hungry, right? Many wealthy people, millionaires, many of them own businesses. You gotta understand this in business, right? I mean, you guys don't okay. You may not understand, guys, that there's so many people in America who are wealthy and you don't even know they're wealthy. They have a business that sells imported gadgets to companies over in other countries of the world, and you don't have no clue what they do. But they got this ginormous house and they have, 25 acres sitting over here, and you don't know they own a company that you probably ain't never heard of, that they're very good at, maybe one of 3 or 4 of the companies in the entire world, but they're sitting right in your backyard right there in Nashville, right? Right there in Fulton County, right? Right there in Arkansas, but they have this tremendous business, and they understand the concept of becoming the best, right? Wealthy people understand this. They know what they do well, and they do that. And what they don't do well, they outsource, right? Really important part. Really important point, right? New York City's in the house. South Florida's checking in. Somebody, Clint Perry, said he made 10 grand. Let me try some, guys. Let me see some here. Hello from Luton, UK. Brooklyn, New York is in the house. Good to have you. Don't hate the rich. Study them. I'm the best carpenter at my new company. Congratulations, Gary. And it definitely will serve you well. Tampa, Eric in the house. Good to have you. Florida's number one broker. Let me see something. If I do that, boom. Yeah, they come up on the screen. I've never done that, guys. I don't know if it's on your end or mine, but I think there's an intermittent audio issue. Good point, Gary. Somebody else let me know if there's an audio issue or not, right? Let's see here. I'm just messing around with this, right? Let's see. Somebody's in Fort Worth. Good to have you. Samantha Samantha? Samantha? Not sure how to say it. Let's keep going. Oh, by the way, guys, again, don't forget to hit the like button. We should have 200 likes, right? We should have maybe 100 and something likes, right? Smash the like button for me. Hit that thumbs up, guys. I really appreciate it. Number 3, let's go to number 3. Now, the third simple thing that regular wealthy people tend to focus on when they're building wealth is this is huge. This is huge, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about this. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Okay. Wealthy people focus on producing, creating, and building. This is what they focus on. Producing, creating, and building. After all, wealthy people have typically built wealth, right? They built something in their life. The average millionaire, guys, is over 50. 50, some places will say 48, 49, some will say 58, depends on what you look at, but they're over 50 typically, right? The average millionaire, when you look at the 2 or 3 large studies of millionaires, they're over 50 years old. That means that the average millionaire, wealthy person in America, has gone through the process of building something in their life, okay? I don't care if it was they built we know they built their wealth or else they wouldn't be there, but they built, family, children, career, right? They built something in their life. They have usually taken it upon themselves to build something. This is what separates the 50-year-old millionaire from the 25-year-old broke person. Nothing wrong with being 25 years old and broke. I'm cool, right? I was 30 years old and broke, right? But the 25-year-old person, they just ain't never built nothing, right? It's through the process of building a level of riches, wealth, or a level in your career or family, or through the process of change and problems and the process of having to get disciplined and learn to be disciplined, the process of having to understand how to be patient, right? All those things produce winning results. Produce, right? So wealthy tend to be producers who create and who build, right? This is why you see so many lottery winners. They win a bunch of money all of a sudden. Not all of them, but many of them go broke because they've never gone through the process of building anything. They're just given money. It's not money is not that simple, right? It's not that simple where you could just give somebody money and they're going to be okay. You have to understand the process of building something, creating something, producing something to get the harvest that comes later, right? This is my opinion, guys. I always say this, and I believe it to be true. I believe that we were all, each one of us, created by a creator to be a creator, create something, right? I believe that we're all built by a builder to be a builder, right? And then we were produced by a producer to be a producer, to actually produce something. And when you listen, when you're not producing something in your life, in my opinion, you're not really being human. You're not really you're not really experiencing the whole human experience when you're not producing or building or creating something, right? I don't think you are really being who you're produced to be if you ain't produced. You're not really being the creator that you're supposed to be if you ain't creating something, right? And I think, listen, I think a lot of people go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, right? Which is cool. But I believe a lot of people are unhappy and unsatisfied with life because they're unproductive. They're not producing anything. They're not they're not building anything up. They're not creating anything, right? I mean, you gotta listen, be honest with yourself, guys. All of us as human beings, I say all of us. I don't like using all, but all of us, I'll just use it in this instant. All of us feel more alive when we are building something, when we have created something. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's just a process by how you wash dishes. I don't care what it is, or a process by which you do your chores on Saturday. You built up something, right? You've created something. You've created how many uses? You create a lifestyle. You create a home, a feeling in your home. You create an ambiance in your home. You create these things because we're all creators. And when you're not creating, you don't feel so good as a human being. That's just my opinion. Because all of us are here to build, we're here to produce, and we're here to create. And wealthy people, that is what they focus on, right? Because listen, I guarantee you, if you go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, you don't focus on anything, just go to work, come home, you don't focus on building wealth, you don't do a budget, you don't do anything with money, just go to work, come home. Listen, you ain't gonna have much money at the end of the day because you never spent time focusing on it. People that have money focus on the money, right? They focus on building the money. They focus on taking the money and going and producing with the money, right? Listen, people that build wealth, they build an investment portfolio. They build a real estate portfolio. They build a business, right? They create a side hustle, right? They build and produce monthly budgets every single month, right? They created a spreadsheet on their computer, their laptop, whatever, and they're building and creating a budget. That's building something. Or they're building a relationship with a CPA, with a financial advisor, with other people, with an investment group, whatever. They create goals. Wealthy people create. Notice the words I'm using: create, build, produce. They create processes and systems at home, and every 2 weeks when they create, what's their process? They built a process. They create a process that helps them be more successful, right? And most of all of this stuff, what is it doing as a wealthy person? It's producing outcomes in their life, right? Because when you build, create, and produce, you create outcomes. You produce outcomes, right? Wealthy people aren't just geniuses. Every wealthy person didn't just fall into wealth because they had a wealthy father who was in the oil business, right? Wealthy people are not geniuses. They just focus on producing, creating, and building. You can get that in your spirit, it'll take you a long way. Arizona in the house, good to have you. I for Profit, what's up with you? Australia's in the house, good to have you. Hey, Gary, you were on YouTube. Listen, number 4, I got 6 of them. Wealthy people tend to focus on being a self-starter. They don't wait on other people to motivate them, right? They have a certain level of what I think this it was called back when I had psychology in college. I think it was intrinsic motivation, right? The motivation comes within them. They don't wait on other people to teach them. I've had conversations with some people who tell me, "Well, I don't have anybody to really teach me or show me." Listen, opportunity, whatever you need, wealth, you name it, it ain't walking through the door. It's really not. If you better at something, you gotta go get better at it. You gotta go. That's the key word. You gotta go and go get better. It ain't coming to you. And I know we live in an easy society. Listen, all you gotta do is punch it into YouTube, it'll show up. But you have to do something, right? Wealthy people don't rely and wait on other people to teach them or show them everything they need to do, right? You got Wealthy people tend to go figure it out, right? Go figure it out. They tend to be self-motivated. They tend to go after what they want, go after what they need, be proactive instead of reactive. And you might say, "Man, this guy's hyped." I'm hyped because this is important. This is life-changing information, guys. Life-changing information about the simple things, right? The simple things that regular wealthy people do, right? If you think about it, focusing on your strengths and weaknesses, right? Pay attention to the things that you can control, right? Creating, building, and producing stuff, right? Those 3 things. And then the 4th thing I said was wealthy people focus on being self-starters, right? Don't none of that cost you money. See, because I believe that you don't have to have money to start to build wealth. I think it takes more than money just to build wealth, because there's a lot of people that didn't start with any money, but they've been able to build wealth. I think there's some precursors to building wealth that a lot of times people don't talk about as much as they should talk about. Building wealth is just not a matter of taking money and making more money. There's more to building wealth than just doing that thing, right? You got to start somewhere. How do I know? Because I started with nothing. I started with 0, less than 0. But I had to have some of these intangible things that I'm giving to you on this video. I had to have some of these intangible things to actually start taking it to another level. I had to focus on something different than what I was focusing on when I didn't have anything. There's a difference. Wealthy people tend to focus on being a self-starter to get going, right? They're self-motivated, right? They take initiative. Notice I didn't say they wait on it. They go out and take it. You gotta go get. You gotta go get the initiative, right? They take it. They train themselves to take initiative. They don't need other people pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. It's great to get motivation. It's wonderful to get inspiration, right? But you may not always have that. You may not always have the motivation, inspiration, and everything you need to get going, right? You gotta find a way to go and get it when you don't have Les Brown giving you that motivational speak, or Jim Rohn give you that motivational speak, or Tony Robbins, whoever you listen to that pumps you up, right? Sometimes it won't be there. Then what? Wealthy people fail all the time, guys. I think it's important to note that. Wealthy people fail. They lose. They get down and out. They go through all the emotions everybody else goes through, right? Wealthy people are human. Just because they have $1 million net worth doesn't mean they're not human as the person who has a $10 net, right? Only matter of fact, let's just roll into number 5. Let's go right into it. The only difference is wealthy people focus on turning failures into learning, right? You say, "Man, he's all over the place with his hands." Sorry, right? But wealthy people turn failure into learning opportunities. They have short memories, right? Think about a great shooter. Always give these basketball references, right? Great shooter. Great shooter ain't got time to think about the last miss. Just gotta keep putting it up. And don't dwell on what can't be done, what you can't do, all your limitations, right? That stuff goes out the window. Wealthy people understand, yes, there's limitations, but I gotta move past them. They understand that a setback simply offers an opportunity for a comeback. They got a winner's attitude, typically. I don't think I've ever talked to a person that had $1 million net worth, and I probably talked to a couple of hundred now. I don't think I've ever talked to a wealthy person who had $1 million net worth, who had a bad attitude about life, or who lacked a lot of confidence, right? Or who was scared to fail, right? Scared to make a mistake. You can't listen, if you're trying to build wealth, you can't be scared to make a mistake. You can't be scared to have a flaw, to mess up. You just gotta be able to learn from it, get up and keep going, make a mistake, take a bump, take the bruises, get back right back in the game and keep shooting. You can everybody gets down and out, but you gotta get back up quickly. I'm not trying to give you a motivational speech here, guys. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just telling you what wealthy people who win with their personal finances do. Simple things, and I call it simple things because these are things that don't cost you any money. It doesn't take money to get up and keep going when you fail. That don't cost money. You can be broke and keep going, which I know a lot of us have been, right? I've been poor, I've been middle class, and I've been wealthy. Listen, I was poor for 30 years, probably been middle class for maybe was maybe middle class for 15 years, 16, 17 years. But I've been on the other end. And when I say wealthy, I'm not talking about I mean $1 million net worth, right? For the last 5, 6, 7 years. The point is this. I've been on my way there for the last 5, 6, 7 years, right? The point is this. At all levels, there's a different way of thinking about life. Now, I've talked to a lot of poor people. Remember, 30 years poor. I talked to a lot of poor people. The way they think is totally different than the way a person that's built wealth thinks. It's totally different. If I could really explain it to you guys, it's a night and day way of looking at life. There's such a bad that it's easy. I know it's easy to have a poor attitude when you don't have any money. I get it. But that way of thinking, not typically something I've heard in people that have money or have built wealth or have $1 million net worth. It's a whole different outlook on the world. It's a different perspective. I'm just sharing what I've observed and the people who are millionaires that I've talked to. 'Cause I'm kinda weird like that. When I talk to somebody and we're talking about money and net worth, I ask these questions, right? Wealthy people know that the more they fail, the more they will win. But if they wanna win, they have to fail. What this does for wealthy people, guys, honestly, it makes wealthy people relentless, right? Not relentless, not stupid with it, but just relentless in meaning that they're gonna keep going, right? They're not gonna give up quickly. They may make some pivots, some smart moves in terms of pivots, but they're not gonna give up. They know that they may fail, but failure doesn't stop them. They don't there's less of a fear of failure. Listen, if you're poor, the fear of failure is up here. You can barely see over the wall, right? Right? If you're middle class, it's a little bit lower, right? But when you have built wealth, you understand failure is right here. Failure is just a small little bump in the road that you gotta get over. Yep, gotta find a way around it, right? But you gotta keep going. What happens to poor people is the failure wall is right up to their eyeball, and it's so large, they don't see it. They think this is what they think, is they peer over the wall. Poor people, they're peering over the wall of failure, and they say, "Man, I can't do this. I don't have any money. I can't build wealth. Man, I can't do this. I can't do that." Fear of failure. Fear of I can't do this and I can't do that is right up here. The difference with people that have built wealth is that fear of failure is way down here at the bottom. They're looking all over it, confident, can see, "Oh, there's a mistake. I might make this mistake. Let me just jump over this wall and take this risk and see what's going on." People that have no money and will not build wealth, failure, fear of failure stops them, right? See, people that don't have money, they try 3 things and they fail at all 3. People that don't have money, they try 3 things, they fail at all 3, and now they're done. Wealthy people, successful people, they try 50 things. 2 of them actually work. 48 of them fail. So they've increased their chances of winning because they kept going despite all they just tried new things. They didn't have the fear of the person who tried 3 things and it didn't work. They tried 50 things. 2 things worked, 48 things didn't work, but guess what? Now they're right here. They built some wealth, they built some confidence, built some motivation, right? And they've increased their chances of winning because they've increased their chances of failure, right? They just learned along the way. You get 3 failures under your belt and you're done trying because you say, "Man, I can't do this. This is too hard." You can't be like that if you wanna build wealth. These are simple things that don't cost money that wealthy people tend to focus on. See, guess who's more apt to try the next time? The wealthy person that already tried 50 times or the poor person that only tried 3 and failed at all 3, right? The person who failed a lot. Understand that failing a lot means more winning. It's just logical. Guys, don't forget, smash the like button, share the link. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel, guys. I really would appreciate it. Good evening to you. Asian from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Good to have you. Let's see here. Your audio is totally terrible, but it's certainly not like it's usually not like it's usually. There's something going on. Yeah, maybe you can guys help me out. My audio. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's I think I got a bad connection. Actually, a bad internet connection. Let's see. It's funny how you emphasize simple things. Simple things seem to elude me. Simple things seem to elude me, but by watching you, it helps me understand how to keep it simple, and that's been a huge difference in my life. Congratulations to you on keeping it simple, Gary. Gary, you are back. Man, you are making your internet debut today, Gary. Congratulations, right? Let's see here. Yeah, let me know, guys, if my audio I've had a bad connection all day, I think, with my internet. Good to have you in here, Mommy Trader. You guys always check out her, channel as well. She's, growing a YouTube channel as well. Dallas, hears me. Good to have you. Naomi's in the UK. Congratulations. A long way away. Good to have you here, Naomi. Guys, do me a favor and hit the like button for me. Smash that like button. I got a couple more I wanna share with you. And when I say a couple of more, I mean I got a couple of more things, simple things that regular wealthy people tend to focus on, okay? Number 6. Let's go to number 6, guys. I'm gonna knock this out the way. Number 6, wealthy people tend to focus on their own lane. They tend to focus on their own portfolio, not impressing other people, not just going along with the crowd, right? Matter of fact, wealthy people don't really care about the Joneses. Now, I'm not talking about middle class people, because that's exactly what middle class people do, right? They keep up with what's the latest this and latest that, and that really ends up keeping a lot of people in the middle class, so to speak. I'm talking about that man or woman or couple who have a seven-figure net, right? Poor people want to I'll say it like this, poor people tend to think about money as a tool to pay their bills, right? Middle class people tend to wanna just get good credit so they can go out and get more stuff, so they can borrow more money to get more stuff, alright? People that have more wealth, and I'm talking six-figure net worth, I'm not talking about Elon Musk, all of his friends on the yacht, about regular wealthy people, they tend to look at money more so as a tool to actually make more money, not worried about how they look, what they drive, and I'm not talking about all wealthy people, because we know there are some millionaires that are net worth millionaires that do care about that stuff. I'm talking about the average, most, right? They sorta understand the concept of having the money work for them, and I've noticed that wealthy people that I've talked to, and I've noticed they tend to be a little more comfortable during doing their own thing with their personal finances, doing their own thing with their money to make their money make more money in the background. They don't tend to be swayed, right, by everybody else's opinions about them. They don't do things with their money that you think they should do with their money, right? They sort of march to their own beat, their own drum. They stay focused on their goals. They stay focused on what's important to them and honed in on their own financial end goals, right? Their money is not in front of everybody, right? Their money is in the background working hard to make more money, and most times we don't even see it, right? They may have nice stuff, not saying they don't have nice stuff, but they didn't get that nice stuff on the way to becoming wealthy, not if you have to build wealth. And, again, I'm not talking about that 20% that were gifted a big house by their grandparents who were millionaires. I'm talking about regular wealthy people, most wealthy people who have a six-figure net worth. They weren't heavy spenders on big ticket items on the way to wealth. They weren't heavy consumers that carried a whole ton of debt on their way to net a high net worth. They were just okay being different than their peers and the people around them, right? Just okay being different than their peers and the people around them. Now, I got a few more of these guys, but before I don't think I'm gonna dig into all these today. I think I'm gonna save a few of them, might even do another video about it. But I just want to share them with you guys because sometimes we think that people that have built a $1,000,000 net worth, we think they've done something like I said earlier, they're geniuses or something. They're not necessarily geniuses. They just have a different perspective on the world, and they do some things differently, and their focus is a little bit different, right? Their focus is different than other people, and their focus is different for a sustained period of time as they build their wealth. Good to have you, Gray Man, and Lane Harmon from Orlando, Florida. Good to have you. That's all right, John Joe. Rewind this puppy back to the beginning. What I did was I gave 6 simple things that regular wealthy people tend to focus on. It's different. Man, I wish I could put side by side a person that is poor in America and grown. I'm not talking about a 20-year-old poor person. I'm talking about a 50-year-old person that, and people don't like to do this because they think this is shaming the poor. This has nothing to do with shaming the poor. What we try to do on this channel is encourage, uplift, and motivate people to change their personal financial life, right? And there is a clear difference between the way somebody who is poor thinks in America and the way somebody who actually has and built money and became wealthy in America. It's like almost like night and day in terms of how they think, the things they focus on, and the first thing that comes out of their mind, and and how they believe, what they think about themselves, what they think about their situation, what they think about the economy, what they think about their abilities, the capabilities, right? What do they think about hope, belief? What do they think about discipline? What do they think about, you know, the latest this or the latest that? What do they think about materialism? What do they think about consuming and consumerism? What do they think about cars? What do they think about clothes? All of these things are is so different when you're talking to somebody who's built wealth and has $1 million net worth and somebody who's in the struggle on the struggle bus. You wouldn't believe the difference. You think about it, you think you kinda know the difference, but until you have conversations, it's hard to understand it, or until you have actually been in the life of being poor, around poor people, or been in the life around people, or talk to people that have wealth and don't think anything about it, right? I mean, they're thinking about it, they focused on it, but it's just become now a part of their life, right? It's just totally different, right? Let's see, somebody said, I'm looking back in the notes here in the notes in the chat room. Check out the Fed's doomsday book. Let's see here. Craven Ware, Moreno, California, Moreno Valley, California. So, guys, purpose here was to give you something that will help you. I want you guys to do me a small favor and make sure you hit the like button for me. Smash the like button for me. It's the thumbs up button at the bottom. Check out all the stuff in the description box. We have free stuff in the description box for you. Check out my partner on this live stream, Mint Mobile. Check them out in the description box as well. I'm a big fan of them, right? And I'm just looking at the chat. I need you guys to smash that like button for me, right? And I need you guys, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, I want you to feel free to subscribe to hit the subscribe button for me and become a person that turns your notification bell on. And we go live typically Wednesdays, Thursdays for sure at 4:30 PM, and we go live on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock AM. Our whole mission, our whole goal is to help regular, ordinary people be extraordinary with their money. Why do I do these lives? Because sometimes, guys, it's too much to say, and there's really so many things to talk about to make it an 8-minute video. Plus, I like to have conversation back and forth with you guys. I got some regulars who check in, right? If you're a regular who checks in here on a regular basis, give me a thumbs up, guys, on the in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if you're a regular. I know Grayman61 is a regular. I know Miss Reynolds is always here. I appreciate you guys. I know Gary comes in quite a bit. Appreciate you, Gary. I know John Joe is gonna hang out with me. I appreciate you, John Joe. I know for a fact that Mommy Trader is gonna come in and support me. I appreciate you, Mommy Trader. I know Florida's number one broker is gonna check me out. NW is gonna check me out. I know Kimmy Apple is gonna come into the chat. I understand that I for Profit is gonna come in here, right? We got a bunch of regulars. Mrs. Moore, no, I don't want to forget her. She comes in here on a regular basis also. We got a ton of folks that come in here and interact on a regular basis. Check the chat, etc. Whether we're talking about stock market, index funds, ETFs, whether we're talking about the economy and inflation, whether we're talking about money management, right? Side hustles, side gigs. We got a ton of folks that come in here on the regular. Strictly Business is here. Wes, thanks for the thumbs up. Miss is checking in. So we've got a and I like interacting with you guys, right? And answering questions, right? And so that's one of the reasons I do the live because it's hard sometimes to capture these things in little 12-minute blurbs, right? It's all, edited up and all that good stuff. That stuff is fun and cool too. Sometimes it's good just to have a general, almost a face to monitor conversation, right? Hey, Miss Reynolds, big wave. Hey, Victoria Rose, in my 20s. This is what Victoria Rose. I want to highlight this for a second. Victoria Rose, you said, in my 20s, thankful for this knowledge now. Victoria, you may know some other people that are in their 20s. Please do me a favor and share this link and this video and this page with them because typically my audience is 35 years old and up. But to be real with you, if you're 20 and 25 years old and want to listen to this information, this is the information, the type of teaching that will help you build wealth and become a millionaire or more in the next 15, 20 years. It's going to help you right the ship of whatever path you're on at 25 years old. It's going to help you tremendously as you get older. It's not fancy. This is not bling bling. This is not name it. This is not any of that. This is regular, real talk about money from real human beings who have built some wealth or who are trying to build wealth. I just like to give this information. Hey, I was where you were, Victoria. You probably have more money than I had in my 20s. In my 20s, I was living in apartments. I was a school teacher. I lived in apartments, didn't have any net worth. I was financing cars, had no money. But I began to change my way of thinking when I was about 30 years old. It changed everything for me in terms of my personal finances. So, Victoria Rose, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you being a part of this broadcast. Share this information with someone else you know in your 20s because I want to reach that audience too. I think it's very important because then I can prevent you from making the same mistakes that I made, and I made a bunch of. Jesus Vera, good to have you in here. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Miss Reynolds, yes, youngsters, listen up. Absolutely, right? Victoria said, was working 2 jobs, maxed out my retirement because of you. Side hustles. I want to start my own business. Victoria, you can do it, right? I'm going to encourage you all the way. Absolutely. You can do it. And congratulations to you for maxing out your retirement. My goodness. Woo! If I could have maxed out my retirement. Woo! 25 years ago, if I could have maxed out on my retirement, I don't know, I'd be sitting on a beach right now, right? That's such an important thing to do. Let's see here. Victoria, our itchy agent said, Victoria, if you're listening and acting on these principles at your age, you'll be yes, 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 itchy Asian. Absolutely. I wish someone had told me this in my 20s too, AJ. So listen, guys, I am going to jump off here. Victoria, all of your friends, look at the chat. There's good information in chat, but really zero in on this information we're trying to give you because we want to help you and we want to get you to another level by the time you reach our age. So I'm going to jump off here, guys. I really, really appreciate you being here. If you came late, just rewind this back to the beginning and check it out. Don't forget, you can always, if you have a question, drop the question in the comment section of the video. Please, and I'll answer the question. For most of my live streams, I always try to go back and answer the questions because I know the live streams are the people that rock with me on a regular basis, and I wanna make sure I'm giving you guys the best of what I got, right? Like Anita Baker said, right? "Giving you the best that I got." Don't worry about it, guys. Anita Baker, she's a singer. Okay, so um, all right. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna let you go, but don't forget simple things that regular wealthy people focus on. Doesn't have to be complicated. Just do some of these simple things. I gave you 6, and I'm gonna check you guys out tomorrow. We'll be back on a live stream tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come on out, bring your friends. We'll have a new topic about money, personal finances, or we may have a topic about the economy. We'll see what's going on and how we want to approach it tomorrow, guys. Come on back, check us out, and let's get back together tomorrow. Don't forget to get your free stuff down below in the description box. And please don't forget to smash the like button for me, guys. I would appreciate it. Listen, as I always say, guys, I always conclude with this because I mean it. It's important. The best person, some of you probably know this already, but the best person who's gonna take care of the old you is the young you. Do me a favor, guys. Take care of yourself and also take care of other people, right? Until the next video, peace.